Now, if you're unaware, the Game of the Year just dropped. It's called Silksong, and I'm calling it Game of the Year based on objective observations. The amount of people playing it, the amount of people that are happy and enjoying it, except for the Chinese, obviously. My understanding is that they messed up the translations, so that they do have like legitimate grievances to be upset. But either than that, no, like most people are happy, and this game not only almost broke Steam, but it also humiliated not only the AAA industry in the West, but also all the intellectuals. All the mortal people, all the mortal busybodies for the last decade or so have been absolutely humiliated by a side-scrolling game. And so, like, what do I mean by this? Well, in the West, for the last decade, there was a mentality on how good people create video games. And if you didn't follow it, you are a bigot, a disgusting person, right? And so, like, good people have diversity in their company. Good people, they view fellow devs as part of the community. Good people always talk about social justice, inequality, and all the other nonsense on Twitter. Good people, they give their CD keys and pre-rendered copy of the game for the journalists to play and have their take. And so this game does literally the opposite. Apparently, it's made out of 3 white dudes that were chastised by Reddit when the developer, a couple of years ago, pitched his original content on Reddit and asked people, hey, do you think this will sell? He was told that absolutely not. 2D side-scroller garbage, no one will buy it, it's shovelware, Steam is filled with that. Apparently, he didn't take that advice and decided to create his game company anyway. First game sold pretty well. This game is a killer. He's working with 2 other white dudes, right? Like, no diversity. Already, this is a sin. It has been ingrained into the mind of the public that it's somehow racist for 3 people that happen to know each other and they're white to start a business together, right? Like you must have the spice melange in the business. Like, you must have predominantly a black person or a black woman. Otherwise, the game journalists freak out. And I wish I was joking, but I'm not. Like, you had the Kotaku journalist-in-chief at the time saying that a company that doesn't have any black dudes is a problem. He doesn't find the problem with companies that have only black dudes or companies that only have Asians or anything like that. That's fine. It's just that white people have no culture, and so we need to turn this into a prophecy, right? Into a self-fulfilling prophecy, and shame any studio that doesn't hire on diversity and assume that they're racist. In reality, of course, like, these are probably friends that happen to know each other, and they started a gaming company. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's no reason, like, there's no plus or minus to it. Most normal people wouldn't have even noticed if the journalist wouldn't have brought it up. But again, going back to the original sins, right? So they don't have diversity. They also refuse to give any announcement to game journalists, right? They didn't give CD keys to reviewers. They didn't give CD keys to streamers. Nobody managed to play this game until it was released, and you'll see a lot of journalists absolutely livid by that. But the final sin, this is the one that hurt the most, is that they don't consider other indie devs as part of the community. They don't have compassion and empathy for other indie devs. One of the bad things that they did is to set the game at $20. People are accusing them of crashing the market. The other problem is that they didn't announce the release date beforehand so that other indie devs can plan their releases around them, right? Now, here's the thing. I'm a game developer myself. I don't think they did anything wrong. I mean, sure, every single person should calculate the price for their game. Like, we don't live in medieval time. The church doesn't get to set the good price. We're not under communism. We don't live in communist China where they can put the price for it. No, like, every person can price the game at whatever. And any person can release the game whenever. It's part of doing business. Like, sometimes maybe you have a good release date and your title sells well. Other times you messed it up and you release it when other titles are coming out. It is what it is. Like, why exactly do they have a moral obligation? Like, whatever. It's such a weird mindset. But as you can see, like, people are upset. I think Silksong's 2-week PR push has done some damage to other indie studios. I don't think Team Cherry thought about the impact this game would have on other industries and their marketing. I think that's a bummer that I hope it isn't replicated. I completely disagree, though. It's like, why should you care more about your competition? They're not friends, they're not buddies, they're competitors. Why should the baker care more about other bakeries? Like, he cares about his own bakery, and hopefully he hopes that all the other bakeries on his street go out of a business, so he's the only one, right? Like, that's a normal, sane, and healthy mentality to have. And if everyone has that mentality, then you get competition, and the people that benefit isn't the indie game devs. They're not the ones supposed to benefit. It's the customer. The customer is supposed to benefit, right? Like, when people are cutthroat capitalists and they're basically struggling to one-up each other, the people that have to gain are the customers. Many indie game developers are delaying their games to get out of the Hollow Knight Silksong way. They have marketing plans which now have to be changed because something they couldn't anticipate. Again, like, this is normal. This is part of doing business. Like, the fact that this wasn't the case up until now is the problem. No, like, things are healing. Look at this one. I can't be the only person who thinks it's kind of messed up for Silksong to reveal its release date so late. Like, man, you're indie developers. You should understand the struggles that studios go through. Like, good, struggle harder. Work for it. You want the customers' money. Work for it. Here's the problem, though. First of all, even if they released their release date a lot earlier, most studios wouldn't care. Like, they would have looked down at this game. It's a side-scroller. No one cares, right? Like, people want to play Assassin's Creed. That's the juggernaut. Notice how, like, no one complains, though, when Ubisoft announces a release title. Like, that's fine, you know, because they're the AAAs. They're the holy ones. But, you know, all indie game developers have to, quote-unquote, stick together. And I'll tell you this, you know, they have a pecking ladder. It's not really like grassroots and everyone gets to do what they want. No. Like, when it comes to indie devs, you go on their Discords and they're the popular kids. All of them are leftists and into social justice. And if you're not like that, you're in the outer group. I'm telling you this, like, this game, the Silksong, is in the outer group. If the Silksong game would have suffered because of some other releases, they wouldn't have cared. So it's a little bit of a poetic justice that this is happening. Look at this one. Team Sherry absolutely had the responsibility of giving a heads up about the release of Silksong and accommodating other indie devs to regard it. Art isn't made in a vacuum, and as indie devs, they absolutely should know how hard it is for other indie devs to be visible. Yeah, that's true. You know, art isn't made in a vacuum. And historically speaking, artists who suffer, who go through pain, agony, and starvation, draw some of the best art. Look it up. I'm not kidding. It's usually, you know, the starving artist that can express the misery of his soul into his art. So, if anything, Silksong is doing us all a favor. Hollow Knight Silksong's cheap price, a problem for other indie game devs and publishers, weighed up its impact. Well, I'll tell you why it's a problem. If you want a rich, vibrant diversity, you need to hire the plump HR lady. Unfortunately, the plump HR lady eats a lot. And in order for her to fulfill her lifestyle, she requires a lot of cash from the company. And you can't sell the game with $20 when you have the plump HR lady. And then you need to have, like, proofreaders, and you need to have, like, expensive voice actors, and you need to get, like, all these people into the production. And that's the bloat. That's why video games cost $120 in an era where you can make a game like a side-scroller that's popular and sells. Seriously though, the more I think about it, the more I realize that video games that came out 15 years ago were much better than the games we have today. They had a lot more passion in them. And they also had I guess a time period where you couldn't really buy things pre-made. Like, everything was made in-house. The engine was made in-house. All of the assets were made with the studio. Nowadays, you can literally just buy stuff in bulk, right? Like, you can use the Unity engine. You can use the Unreal engine. So, like, your company doesn't need to develop an engine if you want to make a game. And secondly, you can actually go and buy assets and then have an artist tinker with them a little bit, and voila. So it should be cheaper now to make a game. You should actually have less people to make a game. And yet, for some reason, video games go all the way up to $120. Like, they hire an army of people, and maybe the expression that too many chefs ruin the dish can definitely apply here. Anyway, right, let me know what you guys think. Enjoy the salt, and hopefully enjoy the game as well. Take care.